Historically, the number 7 has represented the divine in more ways than one. Let's go over it. Now, did you know back in biblical times, the Romans called North America Septentrionalis? That's right, Romans knew about America and explored it, likely terrorized its inhabitants too. But yep, the Romans knew about America, Septentrionalis, and they actually had a name for the land north of America, Septentrionum. This map here shows the land I'm talking about there at the top. Clearly, they were familiar with these lands. Now, why does it matter what the Romans called America? Well, because that back then we recognized the meaning of Septentrionalis and what it meant for us as a whole. But today that meaning's been lost to time, and we no longer recognize why it was called Septentrionalis or Septentrionum in the north. Here's another famous map, especially on TikTok. Clearly, the land around the ice wall is marked very well, but here in the north, nobody seems to point out that the land is mapped up there about the same as Mercator's map, or this map here. Funny how they all showed the same lands, same proportions, in different parts of the world, no contact. Now, not only were the ancients well aware of the North and America, they also knew about South America, which they had a name for as well. They called this territory Meridionalis, or South back then. Now, Septen was so tied into the North in Northern America that it actually meant north in the old days, and they would put it as north on the maps in the keys. Now let's get into how the nomenclature relates to the divine. In the opening book of the Bible, God works creating the world in 6 days. He then very clearly sets apart the 7th day, sanctifies it, and calls it the Sabbath, and it makes it clear that this is a special day for man as well. And he admired what he had done. He goes on to tell us in the 10 Commandments to remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Well, considering it's Saturday, I don't think many people remember. Now let's take a look at the Lord's Prayer and the key points within. Our Father who art in heaven. Did you know there are 7 key points in it? 1. Hallowed be thy name. 2. Thy kingdom come. 3. Thy will be done. 4. Give us our daily bread. 5. Forgive our trespasses. 6. Lead us not into temptation. And 7. Deliver us from evil. Glory to God. So the ideal prayer has 7 points. Now let's look at some scripture. David tells us the Lord's word is flawless, like gold, refined 7 times. In Deuteronomy, we're instructed about the year of Jubilee, every 7th year. In the book of Matthew, when Jesus is asked how often we should forgive each other, 70 times 7, meaning wholly, entirely, as the number 7 is. When the leper comes to Elisha in 2 Kings, he tells him to dip in the Jordan River 7 times. And when Joshua overtakes Jericho, for 6 days they march around it 1 time. On the 7th day, they go around at 7, the walls collapse, the city delivered. Now, you probably never thought about this, but the rainbow, God's symbol of the covenant with man, is 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And now, Revelation. There are 7 seals, 7 trumpets sounded by 7 angels, 7 bowls of God's wrath carried by 7 angels. Now, as I told you, Septentrionum meant the far north, as with a territory. So Septentrio would represent 7 for the wholeness or completeness of God, and 3 for the divine Trinity. Now stay with me. Here's where some truth in words and nomenclature come out. What you're looking at is an old world map of Salt Lake City there. Below is either Phoenix or Santa Fe, I'm not sure. However, you'll notice it's Septem City. What does this mean? It stood for City of 7 Brothers, or 7 Hills, and City of God. Now today we're told that Mount Scopus, Olivet, blah blah, yada yada, are the 7 hills. But if you look at the old world maps, here, Septem Ciutatem Patria, the 7 cities of the homeland. Again, if you look to the left of Septem City, there are 7 mountains, not hills. And here's another old world map showing you Septentrio there at the top. Hell, they named the map Septentrio. And a French map showing Septentrionalis. And then you'll notice at the top, there's more land, Septentrionum. Here's the true Red Sea separating Cali from the mainland. If you look at the places, the nomenclature back exists. We've got Magdalene Pass, Luke Pass. Then you see Jubilees, Manassas, Sumer, Thebes, and there's dozens and dozens of these old world maps showing these places in the Bible. Now I want to show you what the state of New York thinks is cool to make. As I've told you, the Romans knew of the north just like the government today knows of the North. If you haven't looked it up, Rupus Nigre, Mount Meru, Black Rock, and Mount Zion exist at the north, and these are all one place. This is the state seal of New York, I-777 there at the bottom. This is made to mock you and I, because most of us don't even believe there is a north. We believe we're on a ball that is bipolar, paying honor to both God and Satan, and it's fake throne on the side. Frustra there at the top means in vain, uselessly. These people are mocking us, the people of God, and they're mocking God directly. Look into the true geography, the true history, and the reason things are named the way they are. America was called Septentrionalis, meaning the country of God, or Israel. Salt Lake City was called Septim City because it was the capital, or city of God, in the country of God. And North was called Septim, which literally was a reference to this way to God. Modern science and propaganda has done an incredible job suppressing the meanings of these words, changing names and places, damming the whole countryside so the waterways disappear and new ones exist, and using every avenue such as schools, the colleges, research, scholars, experts to disprove and make the Bible look like a fakery. But they underestimated the power of God and his connection within his people. Don't buy all this nonsense and look it up. Septentrionalis, Septentrionim, Septon are representations and symbolic for Yahweh and Mount Zion in the north.